Hello and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We're still at it in Resolve. So we're still... Oh no, we've reached the trial. Part 1. Wow. This might be a one part or this might be a two part. I have no clue how we're going to do this, but let's get into it. October 23rd, 10:44 a.m. Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Mr. Naruhodo. What on earth were you playing at just now? Or rather... What on earth were you playing at all along? My hypothesis. My amazing hypothesis. You've been picking holes in it from the start. Oh, sorry about that. But you promised me! You said you proved that tragic explosion was an accident, not murder. You said you'd keep my precious invention from falling into anyone else's hands. Okay, this is part 2. But all you've done so far is try to undermine me. Yes, I did make you a promise, you're right. I said I believe in you and fight for your freedom to the very end. But I also told you I was no scientist. I don't understand your hypothesis. The fact is, there's an undeniable flaw in your logic, isn't there? But if I just run through some equations... Yes, you see, it's because my work's incomplete! Perhaps it is. Nevertheless, a man died as a consequence, didn't he? Oh, no! You're right. You're so right. It's all my fault. And I've no right to blame you for my failures. I'm a disaster, not just as a scientist, but as a human being. Well, that might be a little over the top. And while we're on the subject, what about Barok? He's being awful. Claiming his old university friend to be a murderer. You mean? He's a disaster, not just as a prosecutor, but as a human being! But no, wait. He's the Reaper, isn't he? Perhaps he's not classified as Homo sapiens anymore. That's clear enough. Can I double check something with you? Yes? What? The machine and demonstration you prepared. They were based entirely on your hypothesis, I presume? There was no trickery involved? I drew the plans for the machine with my very own hands. every line was painstakingly drawn with the firm belief that science is the only future. So yes, it's true that my hypothesis hasn't reached maturity yet, but please, Mr. Naruhodo, you must believe in it. Alright, Professor. I understand. Gadsden! Defendant! Prosecution witnesses are ready to take the stand. Court's about to be in session again. Make your way into the courtroom, please. It all hinges on that demonstration. As Professor hypothesis sounded includes, it leaves him as the only person who could possibly have killed the victim. On the other hand, Mr. Soames is adamant. A practical implementation, such as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition, is quite impossible. So really, what should I be trying to prove here? 15 minutes later, in the Old Bailey courtroom. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsel for the defense and prosecution, are you ready for the new witnesses to testify? The prosecution is ready. As is defense, my lord. Sir Lord Fonseeks, I believe these next witnesses hold a demonstration of the day in question with their own arms. Indeed, they did. And as luck would have it, one of them is a police detective. So the testimony we are about to hear can be considered highly reliable. Perfect. Detective the prosecution's stance remains unchanged. Though it ended in tragedy, the demonstration on the day in question was scientifically sound. And consequently, the sole person with the opportunity to have committed this act of murder is the only other individual to have been present on this stage at the time, the accused. Thank you, counsel. The prosecution's position is clear. So, you bring forth your witnesses now. Bailiff, show the witnesses in. The witnesses was proximity to the incident on the day in question. We clarify the truth unequivocally. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. My name is Bob Zanu. I am the impresario of all the hearty balloons in the vicinity of the experimental stage. My name is Wilhelm Gottfried Sigmund Eumund Stein. I have come to see the Great Exhibition all the way from my home in Bohemia. Coin, please. Thank you. I am very rich. Inspector Cheated Stroud, Scotland Yard. I'm a great detective, David Alex Holmes, a grace. How's on security?
opportunity at the exhibition, and I got to get up in one of the balloons. It was amazing.
Sheena. Again. She did mention that she seen the disaster from up in a balloon, actually, didn't she? She clearly loved every minute of it. Now, a 3 balloons flying near the public experimentation station when the incident occurred. All these witnesses were in one such balloon at the time and saw the events unfold from the skies above. You make it sound like they were in the clouds. It was only an altitude of circa 60 feet. Very low.
Well, you can't see nothing if you fly too high, can you?
60 feet? About 18 meters then. Thank you for your introductions. Now, we'll give your formal testimony for the court. Kindly describe exactly what you witnessed, especially those of you who had the vantage point above the stage. Witness testimony. The view from 60 feet up. It wasn't incidentally. I am only grateful that my balloon was not damaged.
There's a huge bang from the stage, and then the next second another bang in the sky beside us. And from amidst the smoke, a cage appeared out of nowhere.
The cage fell from the sky like a stone, crashed into the crystal tower.
I didn't get a good look inside the cage, but no one went near it after it crashed into the tower.
A most extraordinary collective account, I must say. Could I just clarify something? There's a detail in the witness's testimony that I've not heard any mention until now. Specifically, that there were 2 explosions? More precisely, 2 explosions in 2 separate places, yes. When the demonstration began, the balloon carrying the 2 witnesses around here. There were 2 balloons in the air by at the time, carrying other passengers as well, to be clear. Then, as power was supplied to the machine for the demonstration, the first explosion occurred. The so-called birdcage that contained the victim disappeared from the stage and moved later. The second explosion occurred directly adjacent to the balloon carrying the witnesses. The birdcage appeared at the site of the explosion, subsequently to plummet down into the crystal tower.
I was very surprised. Suddenly a cage appeared before my eyes with a person inside. The blast was so hot, but I didn't want to miss a thing, so I kept my eyes wide. Balloon?
Balloon, take it.
I still have lots of money.
Yeah, I agree. Precisely, who is this curious infant? I am told he is a young noble of Bohemian royalty. Apparently, he disguised himself in order to steal unnoticed into the great exhibition.
Yeah, I am here in London on a sightseeing trip with my elementary school.
We would have the benefit of a child's point of view in the testimony. Do we really need that?
Then I remove my mask. This is what I look like.
Ah, yes, I see a delightful face, I'm sure.
Yeah, everybody says so.
Great disguise there. The point is, the testimony of these witnesses further substantiates the facts for the court. Namely, that despite ending in the explosion, instantaneous kinesis was successfully demonstrated. And furthermore, that until the arrival of the police, no one approached the Crystal Tower where the victim fell. Therefore, only the accused, who was with Mr. Osman on the stage, could possibly have committed a murder. Yes, thank you, counsel. The prosecution views on the matter are quite clear. So, defense cross-examination now, please. Hey! So you actually saw the accident happen from up in the air?
Yep. Ain't it amazing what a detective gets to do, eh? I'm telling you, Odo, being a lawyer makes game. You should join the force and we could go flying together.
You know me so well. Yes. Well, anyway, could you tell us exactly what you saw, do you think?
Everything! We saw everything cause we were above it all. That dodgy cove climbing the cage and the dodgy professor pulling all them levers. And that's when it happened. And that's when there was a massive bang and the cage disappeared just like that.
You are describing the moment. The subject's body was decomposed by the electricity, I believe.
I didn't know what to make of it. But then there was another bang right in the ear. And around there was a great huge fireball right next to us. And there was nothing before that.
Goats? Master Goats, does your memory of the day differ?
My teacher at elementary school said that when you meet someone for the first time, you should always use your full name.
Ah, yes. What was it again?
Wilhelm Gottfried Sigmund Einstein.
Just the four names then? The point is, do you have something to say? Something to add in response to Detective Gina Lestrade's last remark, perhaps?
Oh, get right, Odo. It's Inspector Lestrade.
Why does everyone have a problem how I addressed him at the moment?
That is not what I saw.
Oh?
Yeah, there was a second explosion and it was right beside our balloon. That is true. But I am sure. Which is what I said in. One minute there was nothing there, and next was a mass explosion. My teacher at elementary school said that when someone else is speaking,
You should listen.
if you are rude enough to interrupt, you will have the most awful life imaginable!
Damn, son.
Are all Bohemians brought up to be full of joy? So full of joy. Just before the second explosion happened next to our balloon, I clearly witnessed a green balloon flying in the sky. A green balloon. Huh? You what? I I never saw nothing like that. Yeah, I did. I saw it, and you can't say I did. I will complain to the council, and I will cry and scream. My testimony is the truth. I am Bohemian Prince. You cannot say it's a lie. That is not allowed. Following the blatant rules, I totally typical. Says the orphan who likes to remind people she works for Her Majesty's Police.
In that case, young man, I must ask you to amend your formal testimony. In the interest of cordial national relation between Great Britain and Bohemia.
It was not the sky that exploded. It was a green balloon that was next to us at the time.
Let me see. You mean this? You mean this, right here? My last statement would seem to be at odds with somehow with the evidence. It is your task, counsel, to explain this somehow to the court, not the other way around.
This seems to jar down.
What I think is the whole exchange has been extremely jarring.
Perhaps I need to reconsider this.
Oh. Like layers of thick canvas with a thick rubber lining of sorts. Never seen anything like it before. Climates of some species. You might deduce it was part of a raincoat worn by someone who really didn't want to get wet. And the charm must have occurred when the person was struck by lightning. Sir, Mr. Newton, in your testimony, you said that all three of your balloons you had been operating at the time were undamaged.
See, that is correct. If they had been caught, in the explosions, it would have been very terrible.
I wonder if you might know what this is.
I think it might be. See, part of a balloon. One piece of the fabric of the envelope.
Sorry, the envelope.
Pardon, that is the large round part of the balloon which becomes filled with hot air. It is made from very thick fabric lined with rubber. You will not want to rip it when you are in the sky.
Just as I thought. This piece of cloth was found near the experimentation stage. In other words, as Master Goss testified, a green balloon did explode that day. If all the balloons in the sky above the experimentation stage belong to you, Mr. Luton, then your statement that they were all undamaged clearly contradicts the evidence. No!
No, having just spent £10 for the bill.
It seems to me that you don't need to appreciate 50% of your feeling.
The instantaneous kinesis did occur, but after the explosion on the stretch, the
point on Materia Station shifted toward a location occupied by a balloon. Excuse me. Causing the balloon to explode. Yes. An unfortunate traffic accident has occurred, but it changes nothing about the pertinent facts. Mata! This I cannot accept! Why not, Mr. Lowe? You are suggesting that I am a liar? That person died in a balloon incidente? There's no need to get fired up, Mr. Lowe. The victim was the self-advertising. That's right, and I prove it! Versatile Loon is not a liar. There was no such balloon in the sky. It's not possible. Possible? You are saying it's impossible. Why? This court has more important matters to discuss than the number of balloons that were operating that day. But we can't ignore the fact that nobody appears to have known anything about this other balloon until now. My lord, the defense calls for further testimony from Mr. Loon. I concur. There's clearly more to the truth here than meets the eye. Transformers. It's imperative that we clear up the issue of this phantom balloon, I feel. It's more than meets the eye. Witness, you will give supplementary testimony about the balloons you were operating at the exhibition. Grazie, my lord. As I said, Professor Loon is no liar. You shorten his name down, you get Balloon. Every balloon I had in the sky landed safely. All three of my balloons were carrying passengers. If they fell to the ground in an explosion, what a catastrophe!
Well, you can't get away from the fact that a burnt off bit of cloth was found at the scene, can you? The cloth was at the yard back and it was probably some debris thrown from the explosion on the stage.
This stupido ragazzo's mistaken! My balloons have the red and blue zigzag stripes anyway! This impostore! So your assertion is that the balloon this child saw was not one belonging to you? Si! Exactamente! He even saw a balloon in the first place! I do not like the sound of it. It is very bad for business. I have a good mind to sue the land of Bohemia!
If you attack us, we will fight back. It will be war or not war. Point.
Right, thank you.
What happened to all that war?
Mr. Loon certainly doesn't appear to be lying. But that doesn't change the fact that the testimony and evidence are contradictory here. If the defense is unable to find fault with the witness's statements, the court must consider them the truth. Think long and hard on that, my learned friend. The situation has clearly changed now. We have to get to the bottom of what happened here, no matter what it takes. Counsel, you may now cross-examine the witnesses. Mr. Loon's balloons. As You mean the color's wrong? Si, senor! I do not have green balloons in my warehouse! And yet a piece of green cloth was found at the scene, and it's unmistakably from a balloon. Well, I do not know how can that be. For the sake of argument, let's say that a green balloon is flown on the stage. You couldn't therefore conclude that it happened with the Chris. Why not? There have been recreational balloons flights over Hyde Park, operating from before the Great Exhibition. One could have exploded on some very date. Unfortunately, I'm sure you agree. You believe it may have been from some earlier balloon accident that predates the exhibition? Si, exactamente! As the signor says, it is not from one of my balloons. Clearly, this little ragazzo from Bohemia is mistaken from what he saw. Really? Is something wrong, Master Gotts?
It's masturbating Gottfried Sigmund Einstein!
It was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, something is very wrong. I know what I saw. There was a green balloon there. I swear all over Bohemia.
You can speak as much bad language as you like, but it changes nothing.
Coin?
Balloon. If you do not have evidence of that also, then I must tell your parents to punish you. Perhaps we'll let the judge decide when it comes to punishment.
Evidence? What is this evidence?
To give a simple example, young man. A photograph forges some tangible proof of what you claim.
Then why did you not say so? I have the photograph here.
Good gracious! What?
I had not been up in a balloon for a little while, so I was very excited. Yay! I took lots of photographs of the Crystal Tower, of the Bohemian exhibit, and of the streets of London, and of the how do you say there? The balloon?
And the instantaneous kinesis experiment? Did you take a picture of that?
Yeah? One picture?
Really? You did take one?
But I wonder was I riding a balloon? I was not interested in going experiments.
Never mind that! Can you show us that photograph?
Of course, and then you will see that I am not lying, that I really did see a green balloon.
There it is. Uh-huh.
Well, I see you are all too shocked to speak.
Yes, I think shock is indeed the word, young man.
Coin? Yeah, perhaps you cannot see what it was, a green balloon from this photograph, but that is not my fault. That is the fault of the stupid plan who makes the camera.
That is one very bohemian sounding cry. Very well, the court accepts the photograph as evidence. We just want him to shut up.
He not my fault. Izzy was the person who made the camera.
Well, never mind. I'm sure you have plenty of wonderful sepia memories to take home with you. In any case, when exactly did you take that photograph?
Then he was on the stairs and pink explosion.
You don't say.
Then I pressed the shutter release. That was a very loud bang. Then a hot wind rushed over my face.
That means this photograph was taken a split second before the explosion occurred. Well, if you ask me, this black and white photograph changes nothing. I could not give the flying fig. Lovely language you picked up. As I thought, Mr. Loon's testimony just doesn't quite add up. Young Bohemian boys claim some secret knowledge for but Mr. Loon vehemently denies the possibility. It's hard to imagine the man in charge being mistaken about a number that were in the air. Still, this inconsistency must be seen. Unfortunately, the photograph Master Gotts took can't tell us the color of the balloon, but it can tell us something else, something crucially important. That it shows that the picture balloon wasn't carrying any passengers. Ah, my goodness, you're right. Bet surely all the balloons would have been carrying passengers. There would have been no sense in it otherwise. See, therefore pleasure for seeing the view. My balloons only fly with passengers. Which tells us that the picture balloon isn't one of them. So when the incident occurred that day, there was a fourth balloon in the skies above the experimentation stage. The mysterious green balloon. I know nothing. Niente! I can only tell you one thing. If this balloon was not carrying passengers, then it was not one of mine! He really is. There are illegal trades in the account. Clearly, on such a contract, decided to capitalize on the opportunity presented by the Great Exhibition. I managed to operate balloon flights on Mr. Luna's patch without him realizing. See! The competition! Trying to steal my profits! I did not notice because of the experimenter that went wrong on the stage. His fourth balloon exploded at the very same moment Mr. Asman was beamed from the stage below.
Right. So them scrubs that fell to the ground after and left them scorch marks? They didn't come from the stage at all. It was bits of the balloon laying down. Because no one was in it, it didn't get no attention.
The stage's fourth balloon carried no passengers, sadly floating over the experimentation stage. This photograph shows us nothing more. A stray balloon carrying motorists operated by some rogue trader. Clearly has nothing to do with the case. It's relevant
does elude me, I must say. The court has seen sufficient evidence and heard ample testimony already. The prosecution calls for this trial to be concluded!
They really don't care at this point. Really? Have we got to the trophy? I can't let this opportunity slip away. Jurors' minds are made up, and not in our favor. What else can this photograph tell us? There's nothing more we can learn from it. There is more. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, wait. Please don't give your decisions yet. The photograph from Master Gultz may well be hiding one more vital clue.
What's that? A vital clue?
We're well past the point of mere possibilities. It is time for definitive now, so tell the court.
What exactly does this alleged clue in the photograph prove?
The cause of the explosion. We can reasonably assume that the picture balloon was destroyed in the searing heat of the explosion.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. It was not my fault.
Evidently, because the birdcage from the kinesis machine with daily eyes in the sky where it had been flying. And the balloon being filled with flammable hydrogen, it is instantly and explosively ignited.
No, that's not what happened.
It would appear that this photograph requires closer examination. Counsel for defense, you will highlight the location of this alleged clue in the photograph for the court.
Of course, my lord. If you look closely, it's plain enough to see what's shown is linked to another piece of evidence we have. In a way that leads to an unbelievable conclusion. The clue heavily suggests the real reason the balloon exploded is the timing on this photograph can only be described as miraculous. If you look, you'll notice there's a bright white line that appears to point directly at the balloon.
Most likely a line caught incidentally on the field. I'm afraid I can see nothing of the sort.
If you look with a magnifying glass, my lord, it becomes clear what the nature of this bright line really is.
Goodness, what is that? Undeniably some flash of light here.
Uncle, did you think you might be lucky?
I couldn't have been a farther day. I believe we may be looking at fire. About 4 heads straight for the balloon. Like an arrow! Indeed, even through my aging eyes, it would appear to be a flame of some sort. My word, are you suggesting this flame struck the hydrogen gas that fueled the balloon?
That is absurd. The balloon would have been 60 feet above the ground at the time. No flame could possibly have reached such height. Actually, it's my opinion that a particular piece of evidence found at the scene reveals how that is exactly what did happen.
What evidence?
If such evidence in this council, then for goodness sake present it, man! Which evidence explains this mysterious streak of flame that appears to be headed directly for the balloon? This mysterious contraption right here. So if we were to examine right here, there's some sort of lever here. What? What is this? It's like a cross between a bow and a gun. A crossbow. I think it's probably used for the same thing too. It's a crossbow. A weapon found behind a tree under the experimentation stage at the exhibition grounds. Turns out to be it's a folding crossbow. I present to you history. This was found hidden at the foot of a small ornamental tree near the scene.
Good Lord, is that a crossbow?
An arrow dipped in oil set alight could have been shot from this weapon, sending a flaming arrow straight into the hydrogen-filled balloon.
I was suggesting that a crossbow was used to deliberately...
Oh, you're on! That's striking line, the feather looks just like an eye, don't it?
The explosion, the explosion of the balloon, it was...
Very likely the result of a flaming arrow from this crossbow igniting the hydrogen gas inside it.
No! Order! Order! Council! This is an extraordinary supposition!
If the aim was to cause the balloon to explode, the shooter could have used the gun. However, there's an obvious reason why that would have been out of the question. A bullet can only go so far, whereas an arrow, it can go farther than a bullet. The noise of the discharge, of course. That's right. By using a crossbow, the projectile could be fired at the balloon silently. Yeah, it's a silencer.
Yeah, I've seen one. I shot a gun off in the exhibition grounds. It would have caused me to panic.
But with the big explosion, there was a very big panic anyway.
I don't like this. I should be pleased I found a plausible new explanation for all this, but something else feels wrong.
Do you understand the implications? That's what you're saying, my Vietnamese friend.
If a flaming arrow did indeed hit the balloon, then obviously it would have exploded. And if the birdcage appeared from the cloud of smoke that ensued...
Wait a minute. What are you saying there? Oh, no, I don't get it. What's the birdcage beamed up into skull after all? What?
My goodness me.
Now I understand. That's what that sinking feeling's about. I think there's a good chance. that the birdcage was actually concealed inside the balloon all along.
What? Did I just hear that correctly, Counsel?
There's no going back now. The horse has bolted. Let's assume, as I said, that the birdcage was hidden inside the green balloon from the start. On stage, when the experiment was started, the birdcage and the instantaneous kinesis machine disappeared in a cloud of smoke. At that moment, the flaming arrow was fired from the ground, causing the green balloon to explode and drawing the attention of the spectators to the sky above their heads. From amid the smoke, the hidden birdcage then appeared to fall down and crash into the crystal tower. I think you'll agree it's entirely plausible that what I just described is the real truth behind the miraculous experiment carried out that day. Mother! This is ludicrous. What you described is no science experiment. It's child's play. Contemptible display of stage magic. Both Mr. Soms and Iris said that the experiment was a scientific impossibility. In which case, this is the only way to explain what happened that day. In any case, the victim's body was found inside the birdcage in the crystal tower. If the instantaneous kinesis didn't take place, how do you explain that? If I may put in a word, man, such apparent discrepancies can easily be explained by some simple deception. Number 3? All that would be needed is a doppelganger. Someone who looked very similar to the victim, Mr. Osmond. And having this other man appear on stage to front the show as a body double. Ah, yes! Of course, so in fact, Mr. Osmond must have been inside the birdcage that was concealed inside the balloon right from the start. That balloon would have been filled with hydrogen. Anything hidden inside it would have been scattered to the four winds when it exploded. No one would ever have embarked on such a risky venture. Not necessarily. The explosive force of the balloon gas will very much depend on the mixture ratio. Number 4? Flying balloons are rarely filled with pure hydrogen, but a mixture of other gases such as helium as well. Helium on its own doesn't explode, but by controlling the gas mixture ratio, the explosive force can be altered. Mixture ratio. Obviously, the victim's body would have suffered some burns that would have been unavoidable. But not to such an extent as to render this whole obscene charade impossible. So everything that happened can be explained logically and scientifically. The explosion that engulfed the stage at the start of the experiment was no accident. It was all part of an elaborate deception to make it appear that instantaneous kinesis had occurred. Goodness me. And if we accept that this is what happened, it means that the victim, Mr. Osmond, was never present on the public experimentation stage to begin with. In short, he could have been killed by the defendant who was on stage in full view the entire time. Gah! This would be very hard for the prosecution to kill. Iggy Ari. Lord Von Zieks can credibly maintain that Professor Harebrain's a suspect. Until that happened. Mr. Naruhodo, I appreciate your efforts. Thank you. Professor? But you can stop now. Just keep your mouth shut, please. Sorry? What's all this about, Mr. Harebrain? I, Albert Harebrain, hereby confess that it was me who stabbed Mr. Oli Osmond. Yes, it was me, with my faithful friend and partner, Andrew the Screwdriver. What are you doing? Order! Defendant, explain this sudden confession. Professor Harebrain, what are you talking about? It's what I've said all along. I must protect my hypotheses and my patient machine. You stand there and claim it was all a trick, an elaborate prank. But where's your proof? No, you had to examine the machine if you wanted to prove it. Then it would be all over. My beautiful hypothesis would be laid bare. I mean, the dignity of it! It's clear that you drew the plans for experiment, but you didn't actually build it. It's quite conceivable that you were duped, Professor. If you'll just allow me... Back up! Yes. I'll cooperate. I'll do whatever you say. I swear it. So please. Insert the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act as I hear to and protect my creation. This too. I need a drink. I will honor my drink. Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice at this critical juncture. Here's to my learned Nipnese friend. What? And his upcoming attempt to clarify the defense's position in light of their close confession. What? Huh? Do you intend to formally assert that the experiment was nothing more than a conjuring trick? Because the moment you do, the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act that protects the professor's invention will cease to apply. The prosecution will then demand rigorous examination of the machinery involved in order to establish the proof. However, if you acknowledge that the machine is genuine and instrumental in the victim's murder. Any chance of investigating will be crushed, and the confidentiality of the professor's hypotheses preserved. Well, Counsel, what is the defense official position on this matter? Professor Harebrant, my client, was to prove that the explosion on stage was an accident and protect the secrecy of his hypothesis. But there's no way to do that without implying the professor's guilt. Do I protect my client's life by asserting his innocence? Do I uphold my client's request, but see him condemned? Either way, I can't avoid betraying his trust. You have been silent long enough. Isn't talking your trade, my learned friend? Or has all knowledge of English escaped your confused Nipponese mind? Is that not order? There's no escape here. I have to make a choice. But it's impossible. I have to give up on something, but what? The defense asserts that the defendant instantaneous machine. Let me read that again. The defense asserts that the defendant instantaneous kinesis machine was in fact a conjuring trick. No, I can't say it. My client places faith in me. I can't just let him down. What must I give up on? Is not the question you must have to ask yourself here. It's what can I protect?
Hello again, Mr. Naruhodo. It's been far too long.
Susato! But what are you... Ha! My first Susato takedown in 6 months. I have been waiting so long for the Keta 3 judo throw in a long time. Ow, my ass.
There'll be time for talk later, Naruhodo. For now, we must concentrate on the task at hand. Izzy, are we now?
I'm sorry, but I'm like, huh?
Izzy, are we now?
Which is working now, not what I have to give up on, but what I can protect. Professor Harebrain! Yes. Yesterday you told me that science is the pursuit of truth. Well, my job is to pursue the truth too.
Yes, of course.
And personally, I believe that you didn't stab Mr. Osmond. I think you've come to realize something yourself too, haven't you? That your experimentation and the machine you built with the victim are questionable. The truth behind that is what we must both pursue now. Well, forget that bottle. So, you'll finally open your eyes. What? And that's for you. Albert, you cannot ignore this any longer. Having heard my learned friend's assertion, don't you have something to say?
Baroque.
Lord Van Zix?
Gosh, I've never heard him speak that way before.
In truth, there is one thing, something I remembered that is of relevance. What? On the day it happened, just before I began the experiment, I saw a man near the stage. A man holding that crossbow. I beg your pardon? Professor! Did the man have any distinguishing features? What did he look like? Taller than me and thinner than me, with straight hair, straighter and wider than mine. Let me see, one less lens than me too. Monocle, rather stylish black monocle. But one thing in particular will help to positively identify the man. You see, I know him very well. After all, he's the engineer who built my invention. What? He built the machine. That's right. Mr. Osmond introduced him to me a year ago. He's a man by the name of Enoch Drebel. Enoch Drebel? Does his name mean something? Members of the rejoicing Froster. Not a name any scientist wishes to hear. The man's an abomination. Not a name any conjurer wishes to hear either. Who on earth is he? I'm afraid this is the first tale of this nature that I've heard in scientific circles in connection with that name. There's talk of other flamboyant experiments that turn out to be nothing but stage trickery in the end. Obviously, the rascal is after government's research grant money. When magicians I need money, I've heard of them resorting to underhand tactics. And some acquaintances of mine with experience of such things have mentioned Enoch Drebber's name before. The man is both an engineer and a magician. Yes, we're dealing with an unparalleled confidence trickster here. And that's Enoch Drebber for you. So, it's true then. My invention. My great invention. It was just a conclusion. Considering what we just heard about Mr. Drebber's character? I'm sorry to say that sounds increasingly low. Even though no one else believed, I wanted to. I wanted to believe that machine would function exactly as my hypothesis predicted. which is why you are so opposed to it being investigated, I presume. I knew that if the machine was examined in detail, its construction would give away my hypothesis. Obviously, I didn't want that to happen, but at the same time, I knew that if it was found to be nothing more than a trick, then a work of deception, then everything I've worked towards, all my research, all my dreams, my whole life would be over. I was terrified at the prospect. So you really had no idea, did you? About the true nature of the machine that was built, the true nature of Mr. Trevor. I never questioned anything. I didn't want to question it. It's entirely possible that Mr. Osmond and Mr. Trevor were working together to use you as a means of fraudulently acquiring the research grant money. When I announced my invention to the crowds that day, it was the finest moment of my career. I pulled all the levers and turned all the dials in exactly the way Trevor had described. When the smoke suddenly started billowing out, I panicked. I didn't know what was happening. But I really don't know how the whole illusion was made to work. I don't know anything anymore. Let me confirm one final point with you, Professor. Do you now consent to the prosecution submitting the necessary paperwork to release your invention from the protection afforded by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? Yes. Please. Go ahead. I'm very sorry. It would appear that we have to suspend proceedings for the remainder of the day. Lord Van Zeeks, my lord. The court has newly been made aware of another party whose involvement in this matter is critical. Yes, Mr. Trevor. Gather information about the man. If possible, I should like him served with a subpoena. With pleasure, my lord. Now, counsel for defense. Hey! When we reconvene, I shall be looking for one thing and one thing alone from you. Evidence that the defendant is innocent of the crime for which he presently stands accused. Well, personally and presently. He presents himself personally standing accused. There. I understand. Good. In that case, this court's adjourned until tomorrow morning. "1:36 p.m. Back in the antechamber. Mr. Nonoholo! Ah! Yeah? I'm so sorry! I was wrong. You were right. I tricked you. You tricked me. I tricked you into my mess. Oh, how did it ever come to this? I'm so sorry. Did you really have no idea, Professor? About what Mr. Dripper was really up to? I mean, about what he was really constructing?
Naturally! That machine was the embodiment of my hypothesis, all of my hopes and dreams. I had complete faith in it!
Alright. In that case, I won't say anymore. Now, sadly, the murder accusation against you still stands. So we must do as much investigation as we can before the trial resumes tomorrow. I'm sorry, but those glasses will not stay upon your eyes. I've tried with mine. They will not. They will hang. Well, thank you for doing so much for me.
I'm so sorry for arriving late this morning, Naruto.
Arriving late?
Didn't you receive my postcard? I wanted to let you know when I'd arrive.
Postcard? What postcard?
I hid it for you, Runo, so be surprised. Well, did it work?
I was surprised, alright! Especially when she threw me to the ground!
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I was just so happy to see you again, but it sort of slipped out.
How does a get a 3 sumo throw just slip out? Maybe we could stick to more traditional displays of emotion in the future. You're just asking.
Susie's train was late into London Victoria this morning, you see. But we made the coachman really whip the horse's heart so she didn't miss the whole trial. I was watching from the gallery for a while, but in the end, I'm afraid I couldn't contain myself.
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
Oh,
Having you at my side in court gives me the strength I need to win. So, I'm delighted to see you. Back in
oh, you're too kind, Naruto. I am delighted to be here. I hope I can continue to be of service to you.
Of course, so what brought you back? Did Professor Mikitoba not protest?
Let's save all that conversation room when we're back at home, shall we? You know, I made one of my most special blends ever for this special occasion. Oh, Iris, how wonderful! I can't wait.
So Sato was back in London. It's hard to describe how happy that made me feel at the time. But despite my elation, our tale was about to take yet another extraordinary turn. And that will be continued in the next part when we go into investigation. So, I am going to Save over this. And I'm going to stop here. And in the next part, investigation. You know, boy, we got things to investigate. In the next part See you then.